Do you want to reverse osteoporosis naturally without the horrible drugs? Or do you want to make sure your bones don't go from osteopenia to osteoporosis? Be certain you're not making any of these 6 mistakes. Hi, I'm GloryB and this is GloryB-TV. I reversed osteoporosis naturally without the bone drugs when I was 61 years old. I know many people who want to reverse osteoporosis or make sure their bones don't go into osteoporosis, but they're making some mistakes. Let's go over the mistakes you might be making when you're wanting to reverse osteoporosis naturally. The first mistake you're likely making is not exercising, or not doing the right exercises to build real bone, or not doing the exercises enough. Bones need weight-bearing and impact exercises to build new bone properly. The safest weight-bearing exercises you can do are the various forms of weight training. This includes both upper body and lower body weight training. The single arm dumbbell row, lateral raises, bicep curls, reverse flies, these are all exercises you can do with dumbbell weights at home. You can also do push-ups. When I started doing push-ups, I could only do 2. A friend told me a way to train myself so that I got strong enough to do 20 push-ups at a time, and I do those 5 times for a total of 100 push-ups. I showed how to do that in this video that I'll link in the description box and in a card. For lower body weight training, I typically have to go to a gym, but there are other forms of impactful lower body exercises that build bone. For example, jumping, which I demonstrated and discussed in this video, is a great exercise to build real bone, and it's what I used to reverse osteoporosis. Now, if jumping is too impactful for you, then stomping may work well. I demonstrated the stomping exercise in this video to show you the proper way to do it. If stomping is too impactful for you, then doing heel drops and a marching type of walking may work. I showed how to do heel drops and march walking in this video. If you can do jogging, running, or other high-impact aerobic workouts, that will build bone. Also hiking, dancing, jumping rope, playing tennis, and even workouts with resistance bands will help to build bone. The second mistake many people make is eating too much sugar. The problem with sugar is that it can have a damaging effect on cartilage, and as reported by Save Our Bones, quote, studies have shown that consuming excessive quantities of sugar caused a large urinary calcium excretion increase, both in healthy study subjects and in those who were prone to kidney stones. This is not surprising since sugar is a highly acidifying food. When we eat foods that lead to an acidic body, the bones can't build at the cellular level properly. If you have a sweet tooth like I do, then this one can be difficult to overcome. I changed my taste buds over time by using fresh fruit and sweeteners such as maple syrup and dates instead of table sugar. The third mistake made by many people is eating and drinking dairy. Why? Because dairy foods are quite acidifying in the body. A body that's acidic will leach calcium from the bones. We've been told for years that eating and drinking dairy builds bones, but actually the opposite is true. If you look deeper at those so-called studies, you'll see that the sponsors who paid for those studies were organizations such as the Dairy Council. Many independent studies have shown that eating cheese and drinking milk has an acidifying impact on the body, which does nothing to build bones properly. I talked at length about this problem and what to do about it in this video. In fact, any foods and drinks that give you an acidic body will work against your bones. Besides dairy, these foods also include colas, coffee, and alcohol. Which brings me to mistake number 4, not eating enough fresh vegetables and fruit. Fresh produce is filled with amino acids, which is how we build protein, and it has loads of vitamins and minerals. And in your body, These give you an alkaline body instead of an acidic body. The nutrients we need for bone health are vitamin K, vitamin B6, manganese, copper, zinc, boron, and silicon. Dark leafy green vegetables, root vegetables, nuts, seeds, grains, and sea vegetables such as nori will help to build real strong bones. I've also read about people eating 6 prunes a day to increase the boron intake. Now that's a lot of prunes, if you know what I mean. Eat them cautiously. If you're concerned about the oxalates in the greens, when you lightly steam or saute those greens, the oxalates will dissipate. And that brings me to mistake number 5, eating too much gluten. Gluten is found in wheat, rye, and barley. So what's the problem with gluten? It's inflammatory in our bodies, especially in the highly farmed and processed wheat we have in the United States. Anything that's inflammatory in the body will leach nutrients from the bones. Dr. Denise Shostak, who I've interviewed several times in the past about osteoporosis, talked about how gluten becomes inflammatory in the body and how many of her patients were eating gluten at breakfast, lunch, and dinner, maybe even for snacks. But it's easy to do that, isn't it? Bread, crackers, cereal, pasta. Yeah, I've known people who've had other types of diseases that were due to inflammation in their bodies, and cutting out gluten from their diet made a huge difference in their symptoms and their life. I know it's hard to eliminate gluten, but your bones will love you for it. And with the plethora of gluten-free options and gluten-free flours available now, this should be a fairly easy transition. Mistake number 6 that so many people make is not getting your vitamin D level in your blood to the right level. And you can't do that without getting your blood tested regularly. Now, what do I mean by regularly? Once or twice a year. Vitamin D is also an essential nutrient for bone building and bone strength. If your doctor tells you something like, take 2,000 IUs of vitamin D3 every day without testing your blood, you need to find a new doctor. 2 people taking the same amount of D3 supplement who spend the same amount of time in the sun will have different levels of vitamin D in their blood when they're tested. That's why an initial blood test is important. The man who owned the tree trimming business I hired found out the hard way that his vitamin D level was low. He never got his blood tested for vitamin D because he was outside for hours, nearly every day, pretty much all year. He assumed his vitamin D level was sufficient, but then he got sick from a disease, an illness known to strike people who have low vitamin D. In the hospital, they tested his blood and his number was around, 15 or 20 or 30, something. And it's called, let's say it was 30. I still think that's low. 30 NGML, which stands for nanograms per milliliter. That's how it's measured, or one of the 2 ways it's measured, but it's most common in the United States. I aim to get my numbers between 70 and 85. That might sound high to you, but I've done a lot of research on this over the years, and this is the optimal range. Meanwhile, the Institute of Medicine recommends our vitamin D level to be 20 nanograms per milliliter. What? That's just dumb. I'm in a vitamin D study, which tests my blood 2 times a year. Every spring and fall is when I do it. I get the results online, and that way I know how much vitamin D3 supplement to take, such as whether I want to change the amount of supplement I'm taking on different days, whatever I want to change to get my numbers where I want them. My test results are listed in my account online. I'll have the link to that vitamin D study in the description box below the video if you'd like to check it out and join the study. Below the video, tap the word more to open the description box and scroll down to where it says products shown or mentioned. Checking my test results. Let's take a look. In the spring of 2023, my vitamin D level was 71.3 NGML. Like I said, I want my numbers to be between 70 and 85. Now, as I scroll through my prior results, I see some highlighted in red font where the numbers fell below 40. When I look at the dates related to those, I remember that I was in very stressful times. And that tells me when I'm in high stress, I need to increase my vitamin D3 supplement intake. Meanwhile, I've had one cold in the last year after a stressful move, and the last time I had the flu was 1975. If you're ready to add more bone-building exercises to your daily routine, tap the word more below the video to open the description box where all the videos I've mentioned are linked, along with a study or two and the vitamin D study. 5 videos are linked in a card in the little eye in the upper right corner, or tap one of the images on the right side of your screen for 2 of the exercise videos I mentioned. And I'll see you in the next video.